right, how's everybody doing today? Doing all right? Happy Friday, everybody. What a great video. We'd love to start off our commander's calls and state of the bases with that awesome video. So thanks to our public affairs team for putting that together for us. Welcome to Space Base Delta One. I'm Colonel David Hanson, the proud commander of Space Base Delta One. And first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come visit us. Without the support from our federal, state, regional, county, and city officials, much of what we accomplish on our installations would be unattainable. I also want to extend my appreciation to the civic leaders who guide our Pikes Peak communities. Special welcome to Mayor Mobilati for being here. Sir, I know you're very busy. Thanks for making time for us. And a big welcome to our Friends of Space members who are here with us today. Additionally, I want to thank members of the local media for joining us today. Your ability to spotlight our airmen and guardians, as well as the critical missions we take on to our local community, is truly a powerful force multiplier. And lastly, thank you to the Delta commanders and the Delta leadership teams who are with us today. You will have an opportunity to interact with them this afternoon. Space Base Delta One was conceived with the merger of the former 21st Space Wing, 50th Space Wing, and the Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station into the Peterson-Schriever Garrison in July of 2020. This integration consolidated the support capabilities of these installations under a unified command structure. In May of 2022, the garrison was officially rebranded as Space Base Delta One. Despite the change in nomenclature, the steadfast commitment of our 3,600 airmen and guardians remains unwavering. They diligently uphold the mission to safeguard our nation alongside of the 18,000 supported members who come on our bases every day. Our collective efforts bolster the security of our space domain and ensure the seamless operation of our nation and our allies' space assets. As Commander of Space Base Delta One, it is my honor and privilege to introduce our team, give you an organizational update, and discuss the challenges we face at our installations. This orientation aims to create an open forum where you can ask pertinent questions of our leadership. I urge you to leverage this opportunity to deepen your understanding of our global mission in space operations and installation support. As you may already be aware, 4 years ago, on December 20th, 2019, the United States Space Force was created as an independent service to focus on the protection of our space resources. From that creation, Air Force Space Command, which was headquartered here at Peterson Space Force Base, no longer existed. Space Training and Readiness Command, also called STARCOM, provisionally headquartered here in Colorado Springs, is the field command responsible for training our space professionals and is commanded by Major General Timothy Sheba. Space Systems Command, or affectionately known as SSC, is the third field command that's located at Los Angeles Air Force Base and oversees the acquisition, sustainment, and launch elements of our Space Force and commanded by Lieutenant General Philip Garand. Our direct reporting command, Space Operations Command, also commonly referred to as SPOC, is commanded by our boss, Lieutenant General David Miller, and is headquartered here at Peterson, and is the field command charged with the mission of protecting America from our allies in, from, and to space, now and into the future. Since our last State of the Bases address in March of 2023, the Space Force has unveiled a new service component, the United States Space Forces Europe-Africa, and a fourth field command, United States Space Forces Space, or S4S, which is headquartered at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. U.S. Space Forces Europe and Africa is a service component under U.S. European Command and U.S. Africa Command, with their permanent headquarters at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. U.S. European Command and U.S. Africa Command are the latest combatant commands to establish a space component, following the footsteps of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command and U.S. Central Command. U.S. Space Forces Europe and Africa's presence in Europe and Africa will enhance the EUCOM and AFRICOM's ability to promote security and regional stability, while also building stronger and strategic relationships within the realm of space. Now, the United States Space Forces Space, again called S4S, under the command of Lieutenant General Douglas Shess, assumes operational control of the United States Space Force forces. Their mission is to deliver combat-relevant space effects in, from, and to space. Additionally, when delegated, S4S exercises tactical control of other service forces engaged in these missions. S4S also conducts joint space operations on behalf of the United States Spacecom Commander, operating under the combined Joint Force Space Component Commander authorities. Space Base Delta 1 reports to Space Operations Command. SPOC has 13 deltas, of which 8 reside on our Front Range installations, which constitutes about 2/3 of the entire Space Force's operational capabilities. The deltas are responsible for our space situational awareness and space control missions. They also provide global GPS, military satellite communication, add in the intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, cyber, and orbital warfare capabilities, and you can see why they are vital in the nation's space sovereignty. These teams are comprised of space operators stationed worldwide, performing the SPOC's global space mission. I will now give a short overview of each of these deltas that reside on our installations. Headquartered at Peterson Space Force Base, Space Delta 2, commanded by Colonel Raj Agrawal, is the foundation of space superiority, performing space domain awareness. Using intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, environmental monitoring, and partnership data sharing, Delta 2 provides our eyes to the sky. Using worldwide ground-based telescopes and radars, Delta 2 works to monitor the location of assets and space debris to provide a multitude of factors for freedom of space operations. Also headquartered at Peterson Space Force Base, Delta 3, commanded by Colonel Nicole Petrucci, is the space electronic warfare arm of the Space Force. This delta provides offensive and defensive counter-communication capabilities to the warfighter. They deploy worldwide to support enduring and evolving contingencies. In our society and culture today, cyber operations is at the forefront of our computer systems, and whether it's private industry or corporate America or small business, cyber defense and operations are a priority. The Space Force uses these capabilities of Delta 6, which is commanded by Colonel Christopher Kennedy and headquartered at Schriever Space Force Base, to be our cyber experts in the multitude of risks and challenges. Across other Delta platforms, Delta 6 assists with space mission assurance. It provides assured access to space through the satellite control network and defensive cyber operations capabilities for these space mission systems. Commanded by Colonel Brett Swigert, Space Delta 7, which is headquartered at Peterson Space Force Base, is the leader for space threat analysis and support to space operations and global warfighters. Their airmen and guardians provide intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance to combatant commanders, national agency partners, and the Space Force. Space Delta 8, commanded by Colonel David Pheasant, is headquartered at Schriever Space Force Base and controls 7 satellite communication weapon systems to ensure freedom of space and global space superiority. Delta 8 is at the forefront of visibility in our space capabilities. One of the most unique deltas of our Space Force, whose mission is orbital warfare, is Delta 9, commanded by Colonel Mark Bigley, and is also headquartered at Schriever Space Force Base. The United States does not project or employ its instruments of national power without space, be it diplomatic, informational, military, or economic power. Our adversaries know this, and they are aggressively pursuing and fielding capabilities to deny us access to space and to leverage space to threaten our way of life. Military conflict with a peer or near-peer competitor likely will begin in space, and orbital warfare General Saltzman, our Chief of Space Operations, introduced the Integrated Mission Delta construct, which combines functions like operations, acquisitions, intelligence, and cyber effects into a specific mission area, including position, navigation, and timing. The PNT, Integrated Mission Delta, was one of those 2 initial units to implement this construct. You've probably heard of one of their weapon systems, the Global Positioning System, also known as GPS. You might have made a credit card transaction at a fuel station, an ATM engagement, or perhaps you used GPS to get to our event today. This Delta will function as a vital bridge connecting our operations, engineering, and capability development experts. Space Delta 15, which activated on March 10th of last year, is headquartered at Schriever Space Force Base. This Delta now reports to Space Forces Space and is commanded by Colonel Steve Lyon. Delta 15 provides space battle management capabilities, mission-ready crew forces, operational training, and simulation to prepare U.S. Space Forces and designated joint and national partners to prevail in a contested all-domain environment. As one of the 4 Space Force field commands, Space Training and Readiness Command is provisionally headquartered here in Colorado Springs and has the mission of preparing the United States Space Force to prevail in competition and conflict through innovative education, training, doctrine, and test. Their vision is to prepare every Guardian, develop superior space capabilities, and deliver warfighting solutions. Headquartered at Schriever Space Force Base, STARCOM's Delta 11 is commanded by Colonel Jay Steingold and delivers realistic, threat-informed test and training environments through the provision of live, virtual, and constructive range and combat replication capabilities to prepare the Space Force, joint, and allied forces to prevail. Commanded by Colonel Lincoln Bonner, also headquartered at Schriever, is STARCOM's Delta 12 and prepares Space Force to prevail in a contested, degraded, and operationally limited environment through the independent test and evaluation of Space Force capabilities and the delivery of timely, accurate, and expert information in support of weapon system acquisition, operational acceptance, and readiness decisions. Now let's talk about our family, Space Base Delta 1. Our mission at Space Base Delta 1 is one team, delivering warfighting capabilities through unrivaled combat service and base operating support. Space Base Delta 1 generates a combat-ready force in direct support of national security objectives. Our total force warfighting team, comprised of airmen, guardians, civilians, military families, and contractors, are spread across 7 worldwide operating locations, projecting capabilities to warfighters around the globe. Our vision at Space Base Delta 1 is that we strive to be America's epicenter of space power, providing agile and uninterrupted service to our warfighters. Space Base Delta 1 aims to deliver capabilities created by, with, and through collaborative, progressive, and trusted relationships. And isn't that why we're here today? We are an indispensable alliance who pledge to be effective and adaptable, always working diligently to advance operations, strengthen our team and partnerships, and deliver readiness at the speed of relevance for tomorrow's fight. We strive to be a premier, sustainable organization, providing uninterrupted dominance as the guarantors of national and global offensive and defensive enterprises. We have 3 priorities that help us fulfill our mission and reach our vision. The synchronization of these priorities is crucial to mission success. First, we must sustain survivable and endurable power projection platforms that enable multi-domain operations. We must run the bases. In other words, the operational mission partners we support must be able to carry out their daily duties and global reach without fail. Secondly, we will build a professional and resilient total force empowered by innovation, experience, education, and inclusiveness. We must face today's challenges and continue to grow and to build the combat the challenges of our adversaries and the capabilities we need to wage our space freedom for tomorrow. Finally, we must deliver combat-capable forces to win now and in the future. Our missions at our installations, deployed in place and forward deployed, are ready when the nation needs our capabilities. Our members will be trained and equipped to perform the taskings asked of us. Space Base Delta 1 is one organization, comprised of 7 installations, providing support across 11 time zones. We have 3,600 personnel assigned, and even though we're a Space Force organization, Space Base Delta 1 is made up of 97% airmen. We provide direct support to 2 combatant commands, 2 United States Space Force field commands, and 10 Space Force Deltas, plus 111 mission partners, and over 18,000 personnel who live or come through our gates every single day. Our span starts here in Colorado and traverses the globe, through the tropics of Hawaii to the Arctic high ground of Bidufik Space Base, formerly known as Thule Air Base in Greenland. We truly are the most globally diverse organization in the Air Force, the Space Force, and perhaps the entire Department of Defense. As mentioned earlier, we have 3 installations here in Colorado Springs: Peterson Space Force Base, Schriever Space Force Base, and Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station that make up the majority of our personnel and a large contributor to the local economy here in Colorado. In addition to our installations in Colorado Springs, Space Base Delta One provides support through all corners of the globe. Starting with Bidufik Space Base, the United States Department of Defense's northernmost and most remote installation. The over 600 personnel there that enable space superiority and scientific research in the Arctic for our nation and for our allies. At 750 miles north of the Arctic Circle, the Airmen and Guardians at Bidufik are some of the only people in the world who look south to see the northern lights. True statement. In addition, we support installations that make up the satellite network at New Boston Space Force Station in New Hampshire and Kaina Point Space Force Station in Hawaii. At New Boston, the installation supports over 75,000 satellite contacts per year. And at Kaina Point, they are busy operating the oldest active satellite control network site situated in a strategic operating location. Rounding out our hosted locations is the Maui Space Surveillance Complex, formerly known as the Optical and Supercomputing Observatory, located on the summit of Haleakala in Hawaii at an elevation over 10,000 feet. Operators there play a key role in providing space domain awareness to our operations around the globe. Finally, we are working toward adding our newest hosted installation in 2025. Prospect Harbor in Maine is a Navy installation whose satellite communication mission transferred to the Space Force by way of Space Delta 8. But beyond our hosted locations, the Airmen and Guardians at Space Base Delta One provide worldwide support to warfighters day and night. Each of these locations represents a strategic space site that relies on the support provided by Airmen and Guardians right here in Colorado Springs. The Colorado Springs Regional Command Post boasts a distinctive setup. While most command posts oversee a single base with a singular mission, our command post offers centralized and responsive command and control of forces that relays command directives and conducts operational reporting for Peterson Space Force Base, Schriever Space Force Base, Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station, and the 10th Air Base Wing situated at the United States Air Force Academy. Now, I'd like to introduce Space Base Delta One leadership team. Space Base Delta One has some of the Department of the Air Force's best leaders serving around the globe. For starters, Space Base Delta One's Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Chief Master Sergeant Charles Doc Apodaca, who's here today, and Senior Enlisted Airman Chief Master Sergeant Christopher Clark, also here today, are my counsel for installation enlisted members. Space Base Delta One's Vice Commanders are Colonel Sarah Babbitt and Colonel Randy Combs, and are my left and right hand for mission accomplishment at all of our installations. Our installations each have a mission support director who lead the day-to-day operations of our bases. Dorothy Choate leads Peterson, Steve Stengel leads Schriever, and Craig Biondo leads Cheyenne Mountain. Our mission support directors provide oversight for infrastructure, communications, security, logistics, human resource support services, and so much more at each one of our installations. Colonel Jason Terry commands our group at Bidufik Space Base Greenland, and Colonel Del Lofton commands our medical group that supports our 3 local installations and has a patient load of more than 20,000 members. To lead our staff agencies, Mr. Anthony Bellione culminates the installation support team as the Director of Staff. In regards to mission support function, the 21st Mission Support entity provides combat service and base operating support. This encompasses various areas including security, civil engineering, logistics, force support, communications, and contracting. The 21 Mission Support is directly responsible for supporting Peterson Space Force Base, Bidufik Space Force Base, Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station, and the Maui Space Surveillance Complex. Cheyenne Mountain's mission support utilizes the 21st Support Squadrons to ensure a 99.99% degree of reliability in its electricity, water, air conditioning, power, and other support systems, all under 2,000 feet of solid granite. The mission-critical functions that activities at Schriever Space Force Base, including civil engineering, security forces, force support, and contracting. They chair Schriever-wide forums and boards, including the Facility Utilization Boards and Mission Protection Boards. Additionally, the 50th Mission Support serves as a liaison between Space Base Delta One and Schriever Mission Partners, facilitating the resolution of any installation-related issue that may arise, including support at New Boston Space Force Station and China Point Space Force Station. Our units and the airmen and guardians assigned to them directly impact operations on a global scale. Our contracting squadrons manage a multi-billion-dollar contract portfolio for local and geographically separated units. Our Comptroller Squadron oversees funding exceeding $1.5 billion, while ensuring accurate compensation for our military personnel and civilians alike. The Logistics Readiness Squadron orchestrates all logistical movement for not only our installations, but also supports the Army with facilitating military aerial shipments of personnel, supplies, and equipment to Fort Carson, enabling them to execute their missions efficiently. Additionally, the Logistics Readiness Squadron collects and tailors weather data to brief operational Space Force units across the Front Range and SPOC's geographically separated units around the globe. Our Force Support Squadrons provide resource management and morale, welfare, and recreation, taking care of airmen and guardians and their families and the tens of thousands of military retirees who call the Pikes Peak region home. The Communications Squadron maintains the functionality and security of all classified and unclassified communications and computer systems, servicing as the backbone to our support teams and mission partners. Our base civil engineering squadrons uphold the critical infrastructure and facilities necessary to present combat-ready forces, including the fire, explosive ordnance disposal, and property management. The defenders of the Security Forces Squadrons are essential in providing base defense across our installations, including a military working dog presence. Our 21st Medical Group, comprised of 5 different squadrons, provides first-class medical care to tens of thousands of beneficiaries. As part of the Colorado Springs Military Health System under the Defense Health Agency, we comprise a significant chunk of the military treatment facility market in the local area. We provide medical support to Cheyenne Mountain and both Schriever and Peterson Space Force bases. Our Front Range medics care for our community and set the standard for medical care. Located at the top of the world at Bidufik Space Base, the 821st Space Base Group oversees the Space Force's largest base maintenance contract, valued at over $354 million annually. Partnering with approximately 400 Danish and Greenlandic contractors, the 821st sustains the Department of the Air Force's largest overseas defense area, spanning 254 square miles. The 821st Space Base Group provides support to 2 tenant units, the 12th Space Warning Squadron and the 23rd Space Operations Squadron Detachment 1, which are responsible for missile warning, missile defense, space domain awareness, and satellite tracking and control. They also support the National Science Foundation, Arctic research efforts, and collaborate with universities and science partners worldwide to monitor climate change impacts in the Arctic, wildlife patterns, and atmospheric conditions. Finally, our Delta staff agencies are comprised of multiple agencies that take care of the essential tasks for Space Base Delta One units and mission partners. Our regional command post, museum, public affairs, legal services, helping agencies, protocol, and the chapel are just a few of our staff agencies who provide critical services not only to Space Base Delta One, but support all mission partners. Expanding the aperture are the 111 mission partners we have partnerships here at Space Base Delta One. As mentioned earlier, we provide a wide spectrum of support to national-level organizations. Peterson is only one of 2 installations in the entire Department of Defense to host 2 combatant commands. NORAD is a binational command, and U.S. Northern Command is charged with the defense of North America and our homeland, and is commanded by General Greg Gio. U.S. Space Command, commanded by General Stephen Whiting, is one of the nation's newest combatant commands, consisting of joint and combined forces, and works with allies and partners to plan, execute, and integrate military space power into multi-domain global operations in order to deter aggression, defend national interests, and when necessary, defeat threats. Part of Space Base Delta One's mission success is supporting so many integrated elements of space, cyber, and homeland defense. This is why it is so critical to keep our installations postured to support the U.S. Space Force and the Department of Defense requirements. It is one of Space Base Delta One's responsibilities to ensure the good stewardship of our installations, real estate, and resources for mission growth and development. This past year at Space Base Delta One, we had much to be proud of. Our accolades stand as a testament to the hard work and dedication displayed by our airmen, guardians, and mission partners. In 2023, Peterson Space Force Base was honored with the Department of Defense's Commanders-in-Chief Annual Award for Installation Excellence, recognizing the outstanding and innovative efforts of those who operate and maintain U.S. military installations. Peterson was only one of 6 installations in the entire Department of Defense to receive that award. Additionally, for 3 consecutive years, an airman from Space Base Delta One has been named one of the Air Force's 12 Outstanding Airmen of the Year. Space Base Delta One Airmen and Guardians received a total of 84 Major Command and Field Command level awards in 2023. Our collective efforts have contributed to numerous wins. And here's a snapshot of the trophy we're honored to receive for the Installation Excellence Award. Stunning, isn't it? We're proud of that one. We as an organization are not without our challenges. Facility space, infrastructure resiliency, geographically separated unit support, child care availability, and affordable housing continue to be areas where we need help from our higher headquarters and community partners. Inefficient facility space has long been a challenge for the military, and military construction funding often lags behind the need for suitable mission workspace, posing additional obstacles such as accommodating growth when current military installations, upgrading utilities to support these mission expansion, and securing adequate lease space to house these missions await future military construction. To address these challenges proactively, we've engaged in collaborative efforts with our city officials to foster the growth at Peterson and Schriever. We actively collaborate with a diverse array of federal, state, and local stakeholders to tackle encroachment issues that could impede our mission expansion and sustainment efforts. To add on this, we are exploring options to support missions in temporary lease spaces beyond the confines of the installation's perimeter. These initiatives aim to enhance our operational capabilities to ensure readiness for future challenges. In addition to facility space, the average age of our critical infrastructure across our installations is nearly 50 years old. Our front-range installations and geographically separated units face billions of dollars in infrastructure requirements, with budgets that cannot support all of these requirements. But we must prioritize infrastructure resiliency and resource it along with mission systems in order for us to be combat effective. Supporting our multitude of geographically separated units across the world has always been a challenge and is not slowing down with the addition of new missions and new installations. The tyranny of distance often prevents us from being able to provide the same level of support at our local locations around the globe as we do here in Colorado. As you all will probably agree, childcare is gravely important. To enable our space professionals to engage in their global space missions, we must have reliable, affordable, and accessible childcare opportunities. We have made great strides to hire childcare professionals, open additional rooms, and improve our childcare facilities. However, long wait lists persist. In partnership with our local community, we'll continue to strive to provide the level of service our families deserve. And finally, there's the challenge of affordable housing. The lack of affordable housing options in the local market presents financial and spouse employment difficulties for airmen and guardians across the Front Range. This challenge is especially acute for our junior enlisted members. We will diligently work with local communities to find solutions to tackle this challenge and provide needed relief for our service members and their families. Space Base Delta One's economic impact equals about $4.3 billion annually, supporting over 30,000 local employees. Of this, more than $1 billion is attributed to over 16,000 of our military and civilian employees. The remaining impact stems from contracts, services, materials, construction, and an estimated 14,000 indirectly created jobs. The Child Development Centers, which I spoke of previously at Peterson Space Force Base, are fully staffed at 100% capacity, caring for 450 children. At Schriever Space Force Base, the CDCs are understaffed. Consequently, they can only care for 167 children, whereas if fully staffed, they could accommodate up to 224 children. The demand for care provided by Space Base Delta One exceeds our capabilities, and we have a child care waiting list of over 200 children. Space Base Delta One received a $973,000 from the Office of the Secretary of Defense to partner with off-base child care centers to lease spaces in town to provide additional capacity. This pilot program, this DoD pilot program, provided 23 off-base child care slots at our CDC prices. This program will continue to expand. This is a win-win. In reference to joint training, the Colorado Springs Police Department hosts a monthly collaboration meeting that brings together local police. In fact, we had one just yesterday morning. Brings together local police and military law enforcement from across the Front Range. Space Base Delta One and the Colorado Springs Police Department collaborate on training exercises and manage on-base law enforcement when civilians are involved. This close collaboration with Colorado Springs Police Department is essential for maintaining the security of Front Range installations and ensuring the safety of our people. The 50th Security Forces Squadron at Schriever Space Force Base also partners with local organizations to leverage training opportunities, regularly collaborating with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, the Colorado Springs Police Department, the 148th Military Police Detachment at Fort Carson. In addition to local policing partnerships, they participate in joint training with the 10th Special Forces Group, the FBI, and NATO allies. These partnerships facilitate the exchange of resources and training tools, fostering improved collaboration and enhancing force protection capabilities. One fascinating aspect of our emergency support services is our partnership with the Colorado Springs Airport. In the event of a fire or any emergency at the airport, our dedicated team at Peterson Space Force Base Fire Department is equipped and trained to step in and provide crucial services. The partnership between the Department of Defense and the City of Colorado Springs in operating the airport has been solidified since 1942. Out at Schriever Space Force Base, the 50th Civil Engineering Squadron, their fire department partners with the El Paso County Emergency Services, especially in the Ellicott community, Colorado Springs, and the Falcon Fire Departments. Schriever is known to have the best fire training facility in the local area. The ongoing partnership has consistently played a crucial role in helping department members meet their annual training certification requirements. These partnerships underscore our commitment to ensure the safety and well-being of the community beyond the boundaries of our installations. We could not do that without all of these partnerships exemplified by those of you in this room. I cannot thank you enough for the partnerships and support that we receive from the Pikes Peak area. The state of Space Base Delta One is strong. Our mission will continue to grow as demands of the space domain increase. Space Base Delta One is committed to serving the nation and our communities. I encourage you to engage with our airmen and guardians here today and to learn about the many mission sets of Space Base Delta One and our mission partners. Because of the continuous support we receive from the community, we are able to execute our capabilities and defend and secure the warfighting domain of space. As the Space Base Delta One commander, I am so proud of our team. I look forward to strengthening our great partnerships and ensuring we continue to be the valued neighbors in the Front Range.